Buckingham Palace. Are you a fan of the late Queen Elizabeth? Elizabeth II reigned as the monarch of the United Kingdom from the 6th of February 1952 until her death on the 8th of September 2022. She has reigned the longest in history for a female queen and the longest reign of any British monarch. Home of the British King or Queen. The British King or Queen's London residence is Buckingham Palace. It is found in the Westminster region. The residence that was constructed for John Sheffield, Duke of Buckingham, in 1705 is where the palace gets its name. The Queen's house was the property that George III purchased for his wife, Queen Charlotte, in 1762. In the 1820s, John Nash started transforming the home into a palace per George IV's orders. Nash also planned the Marble Arch entrance, which was eventually moved in 1851 to the northeast corner of Hyde Park. He also redesigned the Buckingham Palace Gardens. To create a backdrop for the Queen Victoria Memorial statue, Sir Aston Webb enlarged the forecourt on the east side of the mall in 1847. The west side of Nash's garden front is essentially unaltered. The first sovereign to reside there was Victoria from 1837. Do you know you can visit Buckingham Palace? The Royal Palace is accessible to tourists. However, it is only accessible from July to October each year. If you happen to be in London during these times, you can either purchase the cheapest ticket, which entitles you entry to the staterooms and Buckingham Palace, or you can spend a little more money and get admission to the Royal Mews and the Queen's Gallery. The Grand Staircase. The Grand Staircase at Buckingham Palace is a highlight of this place. The exquisite bronze staircase was a creation of John Nash, an architect who was hired between 1825 and 1830 to renovate the palace for King George IV. The magnificent double balustrade showcases some of the best bronze castings in the world and is decorated with an exquisite pattern of acanthus, oak, and laurel leaves. The stairs are illuminated by a ceiling dome made of etched glass. The Throne Room. The magnificent throne room of Buckingham Palace is a favorite among tourists. The Royal Ballroom, the palace's largest multi-purpose room, is also visible during your local guide. It houses the thrones that are used for investitures and ceremonial feasts, such as those for Queen Elizabeth II's Jubilees. In front of the throne room, significant royal wedding photos have been snapped, such as those of Princess Elizabeth and Philip in 1947, and the Prince and Princess of Wales in 2011. The Garden. More than 350 species of wildflowers, 200 or so trees, and a 3-acre lake may be found on the spectacular 39 acres of grounds that make up Buckingham Palace. Annual garden parties were held in the gardens. You have access to the south side of the garden with your access card to the Buckingham Palace staterooms. Choose the Garden Highlights tour for further information, which also features the gigantic Waterloo vase, the lovely herbaceous border, the summer house covered in wisteria, the tennis courts where King George VI and Fred Perry used to play, and the 1930s summer house. Flags and clocks. Keep a watch out for the flag as you enter or depart Buckingham Palace, because it is constantly flying there. The royal standard is flown when the reigning monarch is at home. When they are away, the Union flag is flown. Once inside, you can look for clocks. One of the largest collection of working clocks in the world, the palace has more than 350 clocks and watches. To wind and care for them all, 2 full-time horological conservators are employed. Garden Cafe and Garden Shop. At the serene Garden Cafe on the west terrace of Buckingham Palace, your staterooms or garden tour concludes. Tea, coffee, sandwiches, and pastries are just a few of the light refreshments that the cafe serves. The Garden Shop features a lovely selection of presents and mementos made especially for the royal collection during its summer opening. There are home goods, china, clothes, jewelry, children's toys, books, and postcards available. The majority of the items for sale were influenced by pieces of art from the royal collection. The Queen's Gallery, a magnificent public art gallery. The Queen's Gallery can be found on Buckingham Palace's west front. At any given moment, it hosts a variety of exhibitions featuring up to 450 pieces from the sizable royal collection. The Queen's Gallery, located inside the palace, features pieces from the Royal Art Collection, including Fabergé eggs and Leonardo da Vinci drawings. The Royal Standard is flown over the palace only when the monarch is there. The guard is periodically changed, typically every morning from May through July, and every other morning the rest of the year. The staterooms of the palace, which were usually off-limits to visitors, were open to them in the middle of the 1990s to raise money for the restoration of Windsor Castle, which had suffered fire damage in 1992. Royal Mews. The Royal Mews, which are stables and coach houses with living quarters above, have been a feature of the palace grounds since the middle of the 18th century. The current structures date from 1824 to 1825. The opulent motor cars, numerous carriages, and horses that are prominently featured in royal processions and events are located inside the Mews. The Irish State Coach, the Glass State Coach, and the Gold State Coach stand out among the carriages. Sevres Porcelain. One of the finest collections of Sevres porcelain in the world is kept in Buckingham Palace. King George IV bought the majority of the items from the renowned French maker between 1783 and 1830. You will find exquisite ornamental vases, bibelots, and porcelain busts in addition to beautifully painted and gilded useful products like dining services, broth basins, cups and saucers, and déjeuner. Queen Victoria Memorial and the Palace. The Queen Victoria Memorial and the Palace are located to the northeast, and the Mall, a straight avenue, separates Green Park from St. James Park before skirting the grounds of St. James Palace and ending at Admiralty Arch, the entrance to Charing Cross. The staterooms. The 19 staterooms are among the 775 rooms at Buckingham Palace, which also has 78 bathrooms. The monarch receives, acknowledges, and entertains their subjects in the staterooms, a collection of opulently designed public spaces of Buckingham Palace. The Prince and Princesses of Wales' royal wedding receptions were held in several of these rooms. These rooms are adorned with elegant furniture, sculptures, marble columns, plush carpets, damask wallpaper, shimmering candelabra, and other works of art. Variety of royal events and ceremonies. As the focal point of the UK's constitutional monarchy and a very active edifice today, Buckingham Palace also hosts a variety of royal events and ceremonies, from hosting foreign heads of state to honoring accomplishments at investments and receptions. Each year, around 50,000 people attend state banquets, lunches, dinners, receptions, and garden parties at the palace as guests. Additionally, Her Majesty has weekly audience with the Prime Minister and welcomes newly appointed ambassadors to the United Kingdom at Buckingham Palace. Receptions are held at the palace throughout the year to recognize the work of industry, government, charities, sport, the Commonwealth, and many more areas of life. An important focal point for national holidays and observances is Buckingham Palace. Queen's Golden Jubilee. The Queen's Golden Jubilee was celebrated with a music concert in the garden of Buckingham Palace in 2002, which featured a memorable rendition of God Save the Queen by Brian May from the palace's roof. During Her Majesty's Diamond Jubilee celebrations in 2012, members of the public were invited to a special picnic in the garden. A stunning drone performance was featured at a special Party at the Palace to commemorate the Queen's Platinum Jubilee in 2022. Royal Balcony. One of the most well-known balconies in the world is the one at Buckingham Palace. Queen Victoria went onto the royal balcony for the first time in history in 1851 as a part of the festivities for the opening of the Great Exhibition. Since then, royal balcony visits have commemorated a variety of events, including royal weddings, the 75th anniversary of the Battle of Britain, the Queen's yearly formal birthday festivities, and watching the RAF fly past after trooping the color. Monarchy's administration. Although Buckingham Palace is regarded as the center of the monarchy's administration, it also serves as a family home and houses the Queen's Gallery and Royal Mews. The Queen gave birth to Princess Charles and Andrew there, and the public can still read announcements of royal births and deaths that are still affixed to the front railings. The music room hosted the christenings of the Prince of Wales, Princess Royal, the Duke of York, and Prince William. Buckingham Palace has hosted numerous royal weddings, most notably that of the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge. Office for daily tasks. The Privy Purse and Treasurer's Office and the Private Secretary's Office are two offices in Buckingham Palace that support the daily tasks and responsibilities of the Queen and her immediate family. How much do tickets cost in Buckingham Palace? Tickets to see the staterooms at Buckingham Palace cost £19.50 for adults between the ages of 18 and 24, £30 for adults over 24, and £16.50 for kids over 5. Children under 5 are admitted free, but tickets must be reserved in advance. On the Royal Collection Trust website, you can now purchase an add-on ticket that includes a 45-minute guided tour of the gardens of Buckingham Palace after you see the staterooms. Hotels near Buckingham Palace. Number 1. The Goring. The Goring is the nearest hotel to Buckingham Palace, situated about 500 meters away. A monarch or queen would feel at home in this 5-star luxury hotel. Since the hotel's opening in 1910, every reigning monarch has been welcomed there, and with both George VI and Queen Elizabeth II's coronation, it housed royalty from all over the world. Number 2. Amba Hotel. The Amba Hotel Charing Cross is a short 20-minute stroll from Buckingham Palace and is situated near Trafalgar Square. The Mall, a great royal boulevard that serves as a procession path for royal events like weddings, parades, and coronations, makes it simple to travel to Buckingham Palace by foot. 3. The Hilton. A 15-minute walk from Buckingham Palace, the Hilton London Victoria is a fairly priced hotel that is situated less than a mile away. Hilton is a global company with spotless accommodations and cutting-edge amenities. One of London's most popular tourist destinations, Buckingham Palace continues to draw visitors from around the world to the city. Prepare to feel more patriotic than ever if you're British. As you may remember, during World War II, London suffered significantly from bombing. Furthermore, as a major target due to its status as a cultural icon, Buckingham Palace. King George VI and Queen Elizabeth refused to leave even though it was recommended for their safety. Instead, they maintained their composure and carried on. Although during the conflict, the palace was attacked 9 times. Rule, Britannia, rule. Since more than 20 years ago, it has been open to tourists throughout the summer. These are what you often see when you visit the Royal House in the heart of London, whether you're a regular visitor or a royal enthusiast.